Hello, 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 internet. Welcome back to the No BS live show. I'm here with Friended Think Club, my buddy Adam. How you doing?
The man of 1,000 names.
Yeah, wearing many hats today. I'm wearing one hat today. We're talking about some cool stuff. Welcome back to the show, everybody. I see 20 people already hanging out. We're going to get to your comments and questions real soon, of course. Today, we're going to start off by talking about the Kanye Trump visit. It's been going around all week. I actually have a main video coming out about it tomorrow. That'll be on the main channel. But today, we're going to kind of just riff on it, talk about what's going on. There's a lot more to it. I couldn't even get to all in the video. Adam, you just watched a video about it. You said it was a ridiculous. It sounded like a really bad reaction from TYT,
Yes.
and I've seen other crazy reactions. I haven't heard about that one, but man, the media is just so triggered by this.
My friend PSA Sitch had done a video on the prejudice plus power equals racism, or racism equals prejudice plus power. But it's basically this idea that
Right.
black people can't be racist. Do you know about this?
Yeah, oh yeah, I hear that all the time. That's
It
totally fake, but
well,
there's a lot of people that go by that.
Yeah, but you see it in the news now because I like these black commentators on CNN and MSNBC, and like they're saying the most racist things ever.
Seriously,
They're calling Kanye a white supremacist. Like what?
I know, and
It's crazy.
It's so funny because these accusations, like that specific one, I've heard other things. White supremacist, though, it's like he said nothing that would hint that at all. Like he had nothing. See, he said nothing about whites. He said nothing about like, oh, whites are better, which is what you would expect something like a white supremacist might say or hint at. But it's like he wasn't even close to that. I don't get where they get this. Hack from.
What conservative policies was he there advocating for? Everything he talked about was a progressive policy, which I don't understand why the progressives are beating him up. Like he wants to be a bridge between the progressives and the conservatives, which he's like the perfect person to do that.
Yeah.
He brings up prison reform. That's I was beating my head against the desk because I mean, TYT did give him credit for bringing up prison reform, okay? But then they say he's got mental health issues. I'm like,
yeah, that was the next one. I was like, just like white supremacist, I'm like, people are calling him crazy. I don't see anything crazy here besides like a little bit of vibrato. Like he was being a little over the top, like dramatic in some points. Like I know he was saying like, this is our president, we got to respect him. Like he was just excited though. It wasn't crazy. It wasn't like he's unhinged or losing it.
No, I thought everything he did was completely brilliant. I'm also a big fan of Scott Adams, and Scott Adams has been breaking it down. And
sure, I love Scott Adams.
Yeah, I feel the same way. Like his two movies the idea that liberals and conservatives can watch the same video and see two very different narratives just makes total sense here, because I thought, okay, I'm not really a partisan. I don't really take a side. I'm more interested in the policy. Like he's going in there and advocating for prison reform, which I'm in favor of. Like he's advocating for looking at stop and frisk, how that alienates the community. Like he's advocating for all these progressive policies, and the progressives are just beating him up over it. It makes absolutely no sense to me at all.
It makes no sense, like logically, and then also just from what they're saying. You got to like ignore what everyone's saying, and I don't want to spoil too much from my video, but I will have to get into it.
You got to tease it. Come
on,
I'm
gonna tease it because I got this all figured out, and I'm like wondering how far I should go, but I think I have it all figured out. Tomorrow's video, don't forget to check out No Bullshit one. It's not No Bullshit one. It's just No Bullshit. I'm not actually trying to plug that too hard, but I did just go over it all, and basically, okay. So my explanation, because you do seem genuinely confused, and I would just say, to explain it to you simply, it's okay. They're not mad at Kanye like for being conservative, or they're saying Kanye's crazy, right? They're saying he's white supremacist and racist, but that's not true. Really, what they're mad at is Kanye just gave Trump a really big endorsement, like probably the best celebrity endorsement of all time.
Yeah.
Like this is just ultimate move. And the reason they're so triggered, they will never admit it, but they just lost 2020. Like if there was any chance of anyone winning 2020 besides Trump, it's gone now. Like no one is going to beat him after this Kanye endorsement. And the best part is, and that's why I felt like I was kind of figuring it out when I spelled it out and was writing out my script. It was just that, you know, no one's saying this is a celebrity endorsement specifically. You know, it's like it's not as blatant.
Oh my God.
It's not as blatant as those like stupid Marvel videos, you know, like the Marvel actors like trying to say, oh, vote for Hillary and come out on this, and they make their polished video. It's not as
I think what you're saying is it's a sincere endorsement, which is what makes it even more deadly.
Yeah, it's sincere, it's honest, it's like live on camera. Like these guys are just like hugging it out. That's the name of the stream, by the way, guys. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I see 60 people watching. I'm gonna skim over those comments too, so thanks for chiming in there. But yeah, the visit was organic, like you were saying just now. You're like, it's natural, it seems almost unplanned. I'm sure some of it's planned, but it's like it's not those polished stupid videos. That's why I just thought of those again, those Marvel actors. That's a video I covered like a week or two ago, and there's been plenty of other these political ads, and people are sick of that shit.
Yeah, propaganda. They don't like the propaganda. They want to see genuine moments. I agree with you. I mean, it just goes to show you that the goal really is to maintain power, because the Democrats are effectively trading policy for votes. And if the Republicans can give them if Trump came out and endorsed a prison reform bill, man, he would take a huge chunk out of the progressive coalition. He would just, all of those votes would come to him. But I mean, I'm very cynical about politics. I look at it as an exchange, an offer, a deal. Like Kanye got in the room, like he's in a position to actually wheel and deal. And if the progressives really cared about it, and this is what was frustrating about the TYT video, because Anna Kasparian has been on YouTube for 10 years. Like prison reform is her number one issue, right? Like Kanye is in the room with the president. The only one standing in the way of prison reform is the Republicans. Like if Kanye can move Trump on that issue, on his number one issue, she would rather throw away that win just to try to defeat Trump in 2020, which I view as like a hopeless goal anyway. Like,
yeah, and that's the thing.
Take the win.
Yeah, take the win, take the policy that you wanted, but they don't want that. And that's the worst part, is that we're at this point where
why does Anna Kasparian care though? Because Anna Kasparian like is not going to be in power. That's what I don't understand. Like she's not getting invited to White House Correspondents' Dinner. I understand why the people on CNN like don't care about the policy, because they want a Democratic administration so they can go and feel high status and sit, you know, with the next Obama.
They just want to win. They want the power, and that's where it's going. Is that the trick now, and that's why the Democrats are failing so much, is people can see they don't want like better things for America. They're not pushing for like good policies and issues. They just want the power. They're lost and they want to get back in. And the tricky part for them too is, and I mean, there's really no beating it, because basically Trump and the conservatives right now are doing so well and things are going so well. You can't, it's hard to attack us. You know, it's like, how do you stop that? That's why they have to make up shit like white supremacists. That's
the racist stuff. Yeah.
They have to say you're racist. They have to say, oh, you fondled some woman 30 years ago. You know, they come up with all this crazy shit because they're desperate. But with that said, let me jump to the chat real quick. I don't want to ignore them for too long. And we might be bringing some guests in later. I know Marcus, a fan, said he might be calling in. If anyone else wants to try and chime in, you can try to hit me up on Twitter. But
let's get Kanye.
Yeah, let's get Kanye in here. I was thinking Kanye, or let's get some Candace Owens in here or something.
Oh my God. Have you done a stream with Candace Owens? Because she started out on, she's, man,
I think she's too big for us now, but
way too big. Yeah, way too big.
And also the thing is, we had like I made a video about her like back Red Pill Black days, like so
no, me too.
Like a negative video when everyone was bashing her old style, but she kind of came back around. But shout out to Lowell Man, Poland let refugees in. That was a bad choice. McCarthy's List is raising their hand. What's up? Kerf Pepsion's channel says Democrats used to be the party of white men until the 1960s. Good point. Good point. Joe Finkel brings up a good one. I wanted to talk about this a little bit today. Joe Finkel says NPC says Anna good, Trump orange bad, and this is awesome because a lot of people already mentioned this in the chat. Have you heard about the NPC meme?
No. What is it?
Oh, it's great. It's excellent. Okay, so basically, we sound like a couple old farts though, like coming after this meme. But basically, this NPC thing just kind of came around this weekend. It's like it came around after this Trump meeting, like Trump and Kanye met, and then somehow out of it, I don't know the specifics, but this new meme came out, and it basically it shows Democrats as these characters with like gray faces and like lines.
Oh,
actually,
yeah, I've seen that.
yeah, and it's like they're calling them NPCs, which is like no non-player character from a video game, and it's like the characters that kind of just like have robotic like lines prepared already, and they're kind of like saying Democrats are NPCs now because they're just like they're not even real humans, you know what I mean? They're just like Trump bad, social justice good. We need stop Orange Man.
Yeah, totally.
And
that's all they care about. Their ultimate goal is just to gain power. Like it's so transparent now. When a black artist can walk into the Oval Office and basically advocate for every single one of their policies, and all they do is call him crazy. I mean, how is that logically consistent? How do you justify that?
Okay, I got the NPC meme up. This is just one of them. They're basically putting the faces on a lot of different people. Like I think one of the first ones I saw was they put these faces on like all the people on CNN that were like talking shit about Kanye. Because that was the biggest thing about I thought that was crazy. And that's actually the focus of my video is I focused on Don Lemon because Don Lemon was the one that was really breaking down over this. A lot of people did. I know you mentioned TYT, and then there's other people on CNN that were like freaking out. But yeah. The Don Lemon one, oh my God.
And the Eric Michael Dyson too, or Michael Eric Dyson, the other guy who said Kanye was basically a ventriloquist dummy. Oh my God. It's like,
yeah, he said, the other guy said, I think it was Lemon that said he was a minstrel show.
Yeah.
I was like, what? I was like, what? Are you serious right now? Like, that is some racist stuff. Like, Don Lemon is the one being racist, dude.
Yeah. I've been doing a bunch of racist tweets on Michael Eric Dyson because he did a debate with Jordan Peterson, and he's the one that called Jordan Peterson a mean, mad white man. And then Jordan Peterson completely called him out for it and said, listen, you're the one that brought race into it. And he did this long soliloquy and just never really acknowledge the fact that he's just a huge racist. It was hilarious. Sitch did a breakdown video of it, and it's just, I mean, you can see he's like, okay, I'm not really addressing the issue here, and yeah, what I said was totally racist, but you know, I'm black, I can probably get away with it. I don't know, it's bad news when you redefine racism. So a huge section of the country, you know, it's impossible for them to be racist, and there's absolutely no accountability for their actions.
Yeah, and that's the trick here too. And this is like a side story from the Kanye Trump meeting, which I just put this hug on the screen now. I like this hug. Like, that's a moment right there. This is like the moment that really, really broke people down.
What time did that take place?
This was during their meeting.
No, it's 12:56. It says right.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I see that. That was actually another funny thing that came out.
I saw that.
Like, Kanye kept going on his phone, and he showed him some memes, I think. And then he also, like, there's one point where someone caught him doing his code on his phone.
Yeah, totally. Change that.
Everyone's just like, okay, Kanye's code is like 5 zeros right now. And I thought that was so funny. But yeah, that was at 12:56. And I love Kanye's hat. Kanye's hat is got the Make America, but I noticed his is like the chill. It's like a chiller Make America hat where it's like all soft. It's not like the official one.
Totally.
It's like a more, I would say, yeah, probably more black dude one, like just like more fashionable. And I thought it was cool. I want that one now because I have like I think I have a regular.
Was advocating to get the again taken off the hat. I mean, what the hell?
Yeah, why do people keep trying to take his hat off?
This I just can't believe it. I'm serious. Like every objection the Democrats and the progressives have had to Trump, he was advocating against. Like he was like if he was a ventriloquist for anyone, it's like the Democratic policies. It's just it's
Well,
baffling to me.
it's also we could also focus more because here's another angle. A lot of people were going after him. Like we were talking about those other attacks. You said Dyson, and then Lemon said menstrual show.
Oh, I know.
And they were going after Kanye because supposedly, I don't agree with this. 90 people watching, you guys tell us what you think. But basically, they're saying like Kanye, this move was bad for Black Americans. Like he's like repping them somehow, and they made it focused on Black Americans, which could be fair because Kanye does speak up for those issues, you know? Like
Yeah.
he says stuff about that, like talking about how this and that. I don't have the specifics on the tip of my tongue, but basically
he talked about fathers in the homes, which is something Obama talked about every single speech he gave. Like it's so they're so transparent. It's baffling to me that they could actually move the ball forward on a lot of policies. Like these opportunities do not come often. And the fact that they're just so suffering from Trump derangement syndrome that they can't recognize this opportunity, this gift. It blows the mind. It baffles me.
Shout out to Morgan, man. They wanted a shout out in the chat. Wang Computers is watching, saying awesome hug, no homo. Yeah, that's just a straight man, bro to bro hug right there. There's nothing wrong with that. Last word says, I'm sure as hell miss your ignorance. I'm sure he'll miss your ignorance. Russian bot says hive mind, probably talking about the left wingers we were mentioning. Kanye West is too crazy for me, but he's actually very smart. I agree with that. I agree with that a lot, actually. And that point has come up a lot over the recent times. And we could actually talk about this side of it more, too, because in addition to calling him white supremacist and this or that, they're saying he's crazy. Like he's and then, okay, this might be two different attacks because partly they say he's crazy. And then secondly, they say he's uneducated. What are your thoughts on those angles, Adam?
Well, he's like intuitively, he's like a genius. Are you kidding me? He got in the room with Trump. I mean, I feel the same way about Candace Owens. I mean, Candace Owens is maneuvering her way. Like she went from YouTube to hanging out with the president. Like you can't get closer to the halls of power than that.
Yeah. Dude, so, it reminds me, honestly, this is a random connection, but I just watched the movie First Man a couple nights ago, and it's about Neil Armstrong going to the moon. And I was like, I did a review of it, and I'm thinking about that. This is like Kanye's like freaking the first man in this shit. He's like gone from the streets of Chicago to being in the White House. It's like basically the moon. If you think about it, if you're from South Chicago, like the White House is the moon.
Totally. These things work. Politicians want to stay in power. They want to stay in power. They trade public policy for votes. Kanye West is there saying, hey, I'm an influencer in the African-American community. If you want votes, I could potentially deliver them. But here is what I want out of it. You know, I want some changes to stop and frisk. I want some, I guess he's after some pardons. He wants prison reform. And I'm going, most of these are the things that the progressives want. I mean, but they don't want to lose the votes. They're more interested in hanging on to the votes than they are.
And they've also gotten so bad where even if Trump is attached to anything, they'll reverse their stand on that issue. So if Trump says, "Oh yeah, we should fix the prisons," and then the Democrats are going to be like, "Wait a second, no, we shouldn't. No, not anymore because Trump wants it."
Now, when Obama was in office, I seem to remember everybody saying, "Oh, whatever Obama wants to do, they just say no," and now they're doing the exact same thing.
Yeah, it's bad. It's bad. And then the other thing I wanted to bring up related to the prison arguments is that Trump has already kind of heard them out. Like if you think back to the Kim Kardashian thing. I don't know how specifically related it is, but you know, Kim Kardashian came to Trump about that, about someone that was in prison for too long over she got pardoned.
Who was the guy?
it was basically a chick that had been in jail for a nonviolent like drug
Right.
crime from way back in the day, and now he pardoned her because she kind of it was an unfair sentence. And I was just bringing it up because it's like, okay, or Trump is already listening to people. Like if he hears someone out like that, and then he's hearing out Kanye about this new thing, like it's showing that we're getting progress. Like the progressives aren't progressing anymore. Trump is.
I think Kanye has kind of already delivered the votes, but it's hard to say. Like if Trump came out and said we're going to move forward with a prison reform bill, I heard there were commentators on Fox News saying that that would be the worst thing ever. Obviously, the Republicans are against a prison reform bill. What is your take on that? I feel like Trump would pick up votes, but obviously he would lose some votes on the Republican side. Because obviously they're the party that's tough on crime. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think prison reform is always a good idea. Like re-evaluate things, talk about these nonviolent drug long sentences. Talk about I could see more work being done, kind of fixing this prison for profit stuff that's kind of getting a little corrupt, or a lot of corrupt, and bringing a lot of, I don't necessarily think prisons should be making a lot of money like this, but it's a harder issue. There's a lot to all these reforms depending on what you're talking about. But yeah, I think it's good because this story, like I brought up the Kim Kardashian thing, and I know she used to be a porn star, but she's definitely done a lot of good since.
Kim Kardashian was? No way. Come on.
Yeah.
Kim Kardashian was a porn star? Like she might have had a sex tape, but she wasn't a porn star.
She had like a bunch of sex tapes, and that's how she got famous.
Oh, but that's not being a porn star.
I mean,
she wasn't getting paid to have sex on camera.
Yeah, she was.
What?
She made a lot of money off that sex tape.
Yeah, but it was okay.
Okay. You know what? We're getting distracted. We're getting sidetracked.
I'm like, sex tape? What?
We're like, what? We're like, just okay. What were we talking about? I don't know where I am. What happened? What day is it? We're just like, the chat's like, okay, they just talked about that for an hour.
30 minutes. We're like, no, you don't understand.
Seriously. But okay. Prison. We're talking about prison. We're talking Kardashian. Yeah.
I'm just strategically. I'm asking you strategically. Like, I'm not really a conservative. I don't really even pay attention to politics. Like, I think think of politics more from an academic point of view. Like, I've read The Dictator's Handbook, and I understand selectorate theory. And selectorate theory basically makes an argument that just politics is a quid pro quo situation. And as much as you want to talk about how people doing the right thing for moral or ideological reasons, that tends to be BS. That they've just, like, each party has carved out an electoral niche, and generally one party benefits at the expense of the other party. The Democrats get in and they raise taxes, and they give programs to their voters. They pay them basically to show up and vote for them. A prison reform bill would be payment for African-American votes from Trump. Like, Trump is
it's possible.
His analysts are looking at that.
I see what you're saying for sure, but I don't think quid pro quo is necessarily a bad thing. I mean, me
neither.
I don't know if you're implying that, but
I think we're adults here, okay?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I'm just saying, you can have that situation where it ends up everything's better for everyone. You know what I mean? Like,
there's win-win.
There's negative situations like the Democratic welfare state, the Democratic plantation that's just kind of like turned the Black community into shit and made them come down. And then there's situations like we're talking about now. Conservative policies have already brought their community up, have already like lowered unemployment, improved things, brought in big figures like Kanye West is on board with Trump and his vision. And I think a lot of the stuff they're saying is going to be positive, win-win, like you said, for sure.
Yeah, I guess you can't really talk about politics like an adult these days because people freak out. It's like they live in this world where there's not just this exchange for votes. But I mean, it just seems right now, I feel like Trump's advisors Like Kanye West has gone into the Oval Office and he has put an opportunity on the table, right? Like Kanye West has done this one thing, but listen, they talked about Kanye West being on the campaign trail. Like Kanye West could literally be making speeches for Trump. Do you know how many people that's going to draw in Chicago when Kanye West?
Yeah, dude. I mean, it's like I was saying about that endorsement, dude. This is the best endorsement of all time.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, where you're going, I don't know how far you're going with it, but I was thinking this too, seeing this Kanye Trump meeting. I'm like, Kanye could be setting himself up for a campaign in 2024.
2024. No, that's obvious that's going to happen.
He even mentioned
Nikki
it.
Haley is going to be running in 2024 as a female conservative. I think Kanye is going to be running as well.
He mentioned it too. He's like, oh my God, I'm cracking up. I'm getting so excited. I'm cracking up. No, he's like, he mentioned it though in the meeting.
Not underestimate Ye, man.
Yeah, he said it at some point. I don't have the clip, but it was just like, he's like, someone said, Kanye, you think about running for office? And he's like, yeah, maybe, but not until 2024. So he's like, yeah, not until after Trump's done.
Well, that's the way it works. I mean, the person that the Democrats put up in 2020 is a sacrificial lamb. Like they don't stand a chance in hell of actually being elected.
Especially after this. It's like, I think this is the reason so many people got triggered hard was like, yeah, this is a moment where they're like, okay, there's no way anyone's going to beat Trump after an endorsement from Kanye, like pretty much the biggest black celebrity out right now.
But what bugs me is how are these people commentators? Like when I watch the Young Turks, it's just such a neophyte way to look at politics. Like they're calling him mentally ill and stuff. The dude's a billionaire. Okay, I'd love to be that kind of mentally ill myself.
Yeah, seriously, dude.
Like,
I still about that too. They're saying Kanye doesn't have his shit together, but I'm like, dude,
Kanye he showed up on time.
He showed up, dude. He's been making record-breaking, like Grammy award-winning albums for decades. Like dumb people don't do that. Like you don't get that when you're too unhinged. Like maybe he's eccentric. Maybe he's. I mean, he's certainly eccentric. He's certainly like a character. But I love it. I think it's just, you know, in public sometimes he goes over the top. He goofs around. I goof around on streams and stuff too. I get it. But to think he's like not thinking straight or he's just whatever, like not smart. It's like, dude, he's smart enough to make a hit album for Jay-Z in 2001 that set up both of their careers. Like the blueprint is when he started coming out really big, and he's like producing for Jay-Z. I don't even know how old he was. He's like 20 something, like 24 probably. And he's still relevant to this day. Like that's the more important thing. It's like Kanye's been making music since early 2000s and he's still like one of the best.
Yeah, I feel like I honestly feel like culture kind of works in this way. Like progressives push for new ideas, like just reflexively, they're always pushing for new ideas, new ideas, new ideas. And the good ideas that stick, that actually make it into the cultural zeitgeist, the conservatives eventually like adopt and maintain. And we've just gotten to the point where I feel like, you know, they were pushing against racism for so long that I kind of feel like now it's the conservatives that are the anti-racist. Like they push for this idea that we should all be, you know, equal, you know, judging people by the content of their character, classic Martin Luther King. And but now it's a conservative.
Martin Luther King was a Republican, by the way.
Really? Holy cow.
And shout out to Hans Handsome. Sorry to interrupt, but
no, go ahead.
He said $5. He says he wasn't mentally ill when he said George Bush hates black people, apparently to Democrats. Exactly. That's a great point. I thought about that too. That was mentioned by some other people as well. Like there's also the Kanye Taylor Swift situation from the award show. And you know, there's that, but that was kind of different. But this George Bush one's a perfect analogy because it's like everyone was backing up Kanye when he said George Bush hates black people, especially the Democrats. Yeah. But then now he's crazy when he supports Trump like another president, which is just, it's insane.
The mental illness thing is the go-to smear for the left. If you don't think like them, even worse, if they don't understand your thinking, then they're going to say that you're mentally ill. But
and you know what's
really
so
a failing on their part.
It's failing, and it's super ironic for the left to say that. Like, think about it. They're calling Kanye West mentally ill, right?
Mhm.
After they've spent years saying mentally ill people are cool and mentally
I
ill
know.
people should be like just treated like everyone else, and that mentally ill people should, get cast in movies more, or this or that. Like
Yeah.
they've championed all these kind of mental illness, depression, just
Mhm.
saying depression's okay. They're saying trans is okay. They're saying this is okay, that's okay. It's okay to be you not know what your gender is. It's okay to have sex with animals. Like, it's okay. Like, they have all these crazy people on their side they defend, as long as they agree with you. Like, as long as you're all in agreement about liberal policies, you're fine. But if you're
Yeah.
Kanye West, then they're going to call you crazy even though you're not.
Yeah.
And they're saying that crazy or mentally ill is like a bad thing now. It's like, what the fuck? Why were you pushing that stuff before? I'm super confused.
Yeah. I was actually deep in the liberal bubble too. So, I mean, I kind of understand that perspective. There's a lot of YouTubers that are still in the liberal bubble. And I mean, Jank and Anna make so much money off of being in the liberal bubble. It's hard to say that they could ever get out of there.
Yeah.
You see it on Saturday Night. Well, someone at Saturday Night Live is self-aware because after Trump was elected, they made one of those faux TV commercials about the liberal bubble, and I thought, "Oh, wow, someone there actually
I saw
someone
some of that. I saw some of
someone
that. That
made
was
it
funny.
out. Someone actually knows."
And that's the thing that breaks my heart too about specifically Saturday Night Live. And we should actually get to, if we want to backtrack a little, we could talk about Kanye on Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, sure.
But first, I want to go off of what you're just saying, because Saturday Night Live is just so garbage these days. Like, it used to be so funny. And I feel like every generation has said that. Like, I remember when I was a kid and my parents were like, yeah, Saturday Night Live used to be way funnier.
They
Like,
did.
they said that, like our parents said that, and then their parents probably said that to them. It's been on for so long, but yeah, basically the main thing about it now is it's not like neutral, like making fun of everyone on both sides, like which South Park still does. South Park keeps that fresh as far as they can.
George Carlin was the king of that too, making fun of both sides.
Yeah. Oh
Like
yeah, George
equal
Carlin.
opportunity hater.
A legend, yeah, for sure. And that's what Saturday Night Live used to do too. Or they just like weren't that political. Like, they would goof on the president. There was always like a president impersonator, and like there's always this they bring up the news stuff. But lately it's so blatantly left wing, which goes along with other comedy shows like the Tonight Show, late night with whatever. Stephen Colbert is like, there's actually a really great Stephen Colbert NPC meme, which is that NPC thing we were talking about before, because he's such an NPC right now, dude. Stephen Colbert is like totally turned into like a robot. Yeah, he's just totally turned into like a liberal robot. But
when he played a conservative for so long, that's amazes me that he would fall into the liberal. Like, Trump derangement syndrome is widespread and getting wider, it seems. I don't know if you listen to Sam Harris's podcast, but Sam Harris, at the beginning of his last podcast with who is the politically incorrect guy? I can't remember his name.
Bill Maher.
Bill Maher, yeah. He did a podcast with Bill Maher, and man, he did this intro on the Kavanaugh thing, and he was so deep in the liberal bubble. I was like, oh.
Well, dude, that actually got me back about Bill Maher. It was like, yeah, he used to be better too. Like, he's always been very liberal, though. He was never like hiding that. But lately, he's got the Trump derangement syndrome on his show. Because I used to actually watch Bill Maher a few years back before the Trump era stuff. And he was just kind of like, I knew he was liberal. I disagreed, but it was still a funny show. Like, I would get the jokes. I'd like to see the guests. And he would kind of like play it in the middle. But nowadays, he's gone off the rails too. Like, every single one of those comedy shows has gone off the rails.
Yeah, they bought in. The media set up Trump as a racist, and psychologically a lot of people came out and made declarations. And I think this is one of the big problems with social media. Like, if you look at psychology, when people make declarations in writing, they're far more likely to stick to them because of this thing that we all have called the consistency principle. We kind of evolved to be consistent because you don't want to be you don't want someone on your team who's inconsistent, right? Flaky, a cheat, whatever. So we try as hard as we can to be consistent. So all of these people went on social media, started talking about what a racist Trump is, and now they cannot break that paradigm. Like they see Trump as a racist. Like I never bought into that paradigm.
It's
You remember
bogus.
The Apprentice had a woman on, Omarosa, who was just like the most detestable person, not because she was black, but just because she was a bitch, like a hardcore bitch.
Oh yeah, she was the worst. I remember.
And Trump hired her. I'm like, how can you say this guy is racist? Like he hired probably the most hated person on from his television show, and he went and hired her.
Yeah.
Like how can you say the guy is racist?
It's so hard. It's so hard. It's like the same kind of thing with the sexism claims. Like they say he's sexist, they say he hates women or whatever, but then he hires all these women on his cabinet too. Like he's got his daughter involved as well. He's got Sarah Sanders. Like he hires a ton of women, a ton of minorities, and they still try and like pin him as this dumb, like racist, sexist, and it just doesn't. The reality doesn't match up. With their words.
Like how when you're that high status, when you have so much wealth at your disposal, what is the advantage of being a racist? That's what I don't understand. It seems like that would completely work against you. You cut yourself off to all this intellectual source of power, these people that you would want to work for you.
Yeah, and here's the thing too. That brings up two quick things, and then we'll get back to Trump Kanye on SNL. That's why I got this picture up, because he's looking great. He's got that fashionable "Make America Great Again" hat.
Yeah, that's a nice one.
Yeah, it's a good one. And what was it you just said again?
They think he's a racist and a sexist. They've kind of they've painted themselves into this corner where they can't say, okay, well, I was wrong, because they've been all over social media. I'm talking about the rank and file, like they're the ones driving.
And then what I was gonna say, I remember now. It was, first of all, they don't understand. Like it's very impractical to be like a big racist. Like if you're gonna be racist, you're not. Yeah, that's where you're going. That's what I was thinking too. Because I'm like, if you're a racist, like Trump wouldn't have made it this far into like $1 billion company. You know what I mean? Like you can't, like once you get so far in business, you're gonna work with so many different people from so many different like places and countries, and it's just like, it's not advantageous. Like people that want to make money aren't racist because they just go and they make the money as much as they can from anywhere. They're not going to be like some kind of Hitler Nazi and be like, no, I'm not going to make money because I don't want to sell to Jews, or I don't want to sell to whatever Italians or something. It's like, no, you're going to take that money and you're just going to be like, free opportunity, like open opportunity to everyone, because racism doesn't make sense like business wise.
And a lot of times people are racist because they feel like some other community has disadvantaged them. But when you're in a position, you're a billionaire, no community is in a position to disadvantage you.
Yeah, and then the other thing too about like you were saying about the rank and file, calling people racist, calling Kanye racist, calling Trump racist. It's like, I think the definition of racism it has no meaning anymore for the people that actually use it. I hardly call anyone racist unless, I'm responding to one of these videos or something and it's pretty obvious. But really, it's like racism is pretty, like it needs to be pretty clear. Like if you're a racist, you're not a racist just because you dressed up as Pocahontas for Halloween. Like that's not racist. You're not hurting anyone. Like a real racist is like someone who fires a person because they're black. It's like if you tell your daughter she can't date Asian people, that's racist. Like there's actual actions to be racist, but like we don't have any actions from Kanye or Trump that is racist. Like Kanye has never, I don't know, yelled off and snapped on some Mexican person because of their race. Like we've never seen Trump, crash his car into a Hispanic neighborhood. I don't know what it's like. There's no racism here. Like all you're talking about is some words, and they're just trying to pin this on them because I guess, racism is like the worst thing you could be nowadays.
He sees, Kanye actually mentions in the Saturday Night Live thing that racism, like, what does he care if random people are racist? Like, and it's the best comeback because who cares? We live in a dignity culture. Like, you have innate dignity. What do you care what some random racist, like, if 5% of America hates African Americans, who cares? Like,
Yeah,
those
dude.
people can suck it.
I've definitely thought the same thing. Like, over the years, like going over stuff, I'm just like the racism they bring up, and this is what Kanye was, I think, mentioning too. It's like the racism the Democrats commonly bring up. It's like meaningless. It's like, okay, so you're talking about some person might not like a certain race, but they're not acting on it. Like I was saying,
Yeah.
there's no racist actions here, and there's no
Well,
whatever.
it's our God-given right to hate people too. So
Yeah, and
like,
it's almost like that story. It's like if a tree falls in the woods and no one sees it,
oh,
like did it
exactly.
really fall? It's like if someone is racist in a woods and no one knows about it, like are they really racist? I mean, you can have racist thoughts, but I think we got to definitely set a line where it's like racist thoughts and then racist actions. Like racist actions are a whole other deal.
But
Like
that's all been encoded in law already, because there are all these anti-discrimination laws. So all of that is already in our legal system.
oh yeah, yeah. There's anti discrimination, anti-sexist hiring and firing, and all that stuff. It's all coded.
In order for the liberals to maintain their goal, whatever they're working towards, they have to wipe out racist thoughts, because all the other racism has been.
Yeah, it's thought police, dude. And it's like I was saying, it's like, are racist thoughts really that bad? Like I mean, sure, yeah, it's shitty if you just have it in your head, like I hate everyone from Venezuela or something, like that's like shitty. But at the same time, it's like, can you not have a thought? Can you said it. You're like, can you not hate people? Like, why can't I have an agenda against Uganda? You know, like like why can't I just hate them? Like I'm not doing anything about it. I'm barely even talking about it. I'm just saying it here as a joke. But it's like that's where we've come. It's 1984 like thought police shit.
I think back to the voting thing. I think that they're trying to dispense dignity for votes. I think they're literally trying to make people feel better in exchange for votes, because it's the easiest thing to do. It's very hard to make people's economic situation better. It's much easier to say, okay, we've rooted out all the racists and shamed them. Like that's like, that doesn't cost any money.
Well, dude, that reminds me of another one. I wanted to bring up this Ocasio-Cortez. You just reminded me of her because where we're at now is we're at a point where the Democrats will do anything for votes, right? Like you were getting there.
Either side will do anything for votes. Let's not delude ourselves.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. But I think the difference is it's like there's empty promises, right? And there's a lot of
totally.
And there's a lot of empty promises coming from like Cortez's side and the communist side, and then on the other side is just straight up like illegal. Like let's let illegals vote. You know,
what about the wall though? There's some empty promises on both sides. I hear people complain.
I think it's still coming, but you know, it definitely that one hasn't been delivered. There's plenty of other ones that have been delivered.
Build a fence.
I'm down. I want the wall, dude. I have a wall around my apartment right now. I have a wall around my desk. But yeah, so you reminded me. You reminded me of Cortez though, because yeah, we're going off of like the Democrats just doing anything for votes, lowering their standards, taking votes from illegals, and then I had another video that reminded me of Cortez from like a few weeks back. And with her angle, it's kind of just like she promises the world, you know, she's like, we're going to have free healthcare. We're going to have free money. You're going to get this. You're going to get a DVD copy of Avengers Infinity War. Like you're going to get all this free stuff if you vote for Democrats. But she has no plan. There's no plan on how to get that stuff. She's just like blindly promising everything, you know? It's
don't you realize though, that's how, like, she's talking to delusional people. Like, of course, yeah. Like you don't need to have a plan.
Dude, she's legit talking to crazy people. Cause I actually, in my video, it was from about a week ago. I covered her and she was on the news saying, you know, sometimes she feels like she's a therapist because all of her supporters are unhinged and broken down because of Trump, and they're losing their minds. And I'm like, yeah, that's because all the people that support you are fucking crazy.
You gotta get the crazy eyes off, man. That one eye being open a little bit more is
it tripping you out, guys? Guys, don't look at the screen.
I feel like I'm getting hypnotized here.
Seriously, if you look at her eyes, like, are they? She's kind of like, it's like, is one lazy? It's like they're off.
No, one is open. Like one is open slightly more. Like, yeah, I got an eye on you. Like, I see what you're doing.
Okay, let's go back to Kanye for a second.
Yeah. I feel safer now.
Kanye's chill. Kanye's so chill, dude. It's like, dude, that chick was fucking grilling us. Oh my god, you're right. I was
getting nervous.
Right. It was anxious.
I thought I was gonna start like reeling off my social security number.
Kanye is like, Kanye's just, I mean, he's just chill. He's cool. But anything else about the Saturday Night Live stuff? Because okay, the one other thing I was gonna say was I thought it was awesome how Kanye did SNL. It was about 2 weeks ago, and I thought it was great. I did a video about it too, but the liberals were doing the same thing they're doing now, where they're like, Kanye's unhinged, he's crazy, he's losing it. And I thought it was funny how he ended up in the White House after this. You know?
No, they're delusional though. They see Trump as Satan. Like they literally think he's sitting down with Satan.
Yeah, it's hilarious that they just read that so wrong. They're like, oh my god, Trump blew it on SNL, and then we're all like, oh, that was awesome. Trump or Kanye was killing it on SNL.
If Kanye runs in 2024 as a Republican and ends up passing a bunch of progressive policies, though, are the parties officially going to flip? I mean, I believe that the parties are fully capable of flipping. Like the parties are only interested in votes.
Mm-hmm.
Like if they get, Candace Owens said it on, I can't remember. She did an interview and she said that if the Democrats need to get 85% of the black vote to win, if they get 75% of the black vote, they lose. That just means that the Republicans are like, bring every African American to us that's smart and we're gonna run them.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just seems like
well, in my opinion, I get what you're saying. I just wouldn't call it a flip. Like I don't. Mm-hmm. It may just be like terminology, but I actually don't like that term because also there was like that time where a lot of liberals will say the parties flipped back in the day to kind of like hide. Oh yeah, Democrats used to have slaves and they were anti-slavery or they were pro-slavery.
The Democrats were the party of slavery, though.
Oh yeah.
There was a flip. Johnson voted for the Civil Rights Act. Or Johnson passed the Civil Rights Act, and all the racists, the people who legitimately were racist, and I mean my grandparents were, whoa, is that me or you?
Oh no, there's just a motorcycle outside. We're good.
You know, my grandparents were probably racist. Your grandparents were probably racist. I mean, everyone was racist.
Well, according to 2018 standards, yeah, everyone was racist before.
Like, yeah, totally. They rounded up Japanese people and put them in concentration camps during World War II, and there was no public outrage for it. Like racism has entered the public consciousness in recent days. But so Johnson in the 60s, all the people who were left that were racist migrated to the Republican Party. You don't buy into that?
Well, that's the thing. There's not that many people that migrated. There was like one senator.
Well, no, I think they're all dead now, but I think racism has pretty much been stamped out, to be honest.
Yeah, no, I know what you're saying. I'm just saying that flip, that time you're talking about, that's why I don't buy into it, is because it's just kind of like a propaganda tactic for the Democrats to kind of hide their racist past, you know? They're like, they want you to think it flipped because they're like, oh, we're not racist anymore. But really, that instance you're talking about, there was only like one senator that flipped parties.
The Democrats though are kind of reverse racist now, because all I see is black commentators on TV talking about how Kanye West is a white supremacist. Like they're the ones that are constantly, they've
lost the thread for sure.
Yeah. If you want to end racism, like I'm a Morgan Freeman guy, man. Stop talking about it.
Yeah, I love that quote. And let's go ahead and shout out to our guests. We're gonna guest a few people in. Shout out to Marcus. Thanks for joining us, buddy.
What's up, Marcus?
Not much. Hello, Brooke. Hello, Adam. How are you?
Good to see you.
Great, great. Good to see you, man. We got a longtime fan here, friend of the show. We're just talking Kanye and Trump. Do you want to chime in a little bit? What are your thoughts on the big Kanye Trump meeting?
Well, to be honest, I was a bit surprised to see this happen.
Well,
I
we were all surprised.
Yep,
I-
that's true.
I saw it on Dice, and I was just like, "Oh my God, I gotta show this to Brooks. I gotta show it to Brooks."
Yeah, I got that
And
link, dude. Thank you.
oh yeah, and I am representing a team here. It's one of my favorite places to eat out at.
Okay, Scotty's hot dogs. Nice. You got a little promotion there. Hopefully they pay you with a free hot dog.
Practically, I get a meal.
Okay,
Free
cool.
one.
Cool. Yeah, I think that's a good point, though. I think the shock has kind of worn off since it's been a while, but it was surprising going back to the beginning. Trump and Kanye meeting. It's not something super. I would say it is common. Actually, Common, the rapper named Common, he met with the president before. Some people compared that meeting because they're like, "Oh, that wasn't a big deal when Common came in," and blah blah blah. And I'm like,
Did
"Yeah,
he meet
well."
with Trump or Obama?
I was gonna say which president?
I might have been Obama. I'm not sure if it
Yeah,
was
I think
Trump.
it was Obama. That's why they didn't care. They're like, oh well, the
And I didn't,
Republicans cared.
and I never heard about it. So
Yeah, I didn't hear about it. And then, I mean, obviously, I don't think that's a fair comparison. I know who Common is, but he's not as big a celebrity as Kanye. I mean, Common is like a B to a Kanye's like A or S level.
Kanye is basically a household name, in my
Yeah.
opinion. But
Yeah.
Common, I was like, who's Common?
Common is technically known in my household as, oh, it's that actor, that guy. That's that guy.
Yeah, and he's good. It's not to even discredit him. It's just to be honest. It's like who's more famous? Like, do people really know Common? Common's actually been in a few movies lately. Like,
Yeah,
he's an actor.
Yeah, he's like a character actor, definitely.
Yeah, he's good.
Oh,
And then,
okay.
but yeah, I think Trump and Kanye is a bigger deal. I think it's also a bigger deal. Yeah, if Common went to Obama, it's like, yeah, that's normal. But then Kanye going to Trump, it's like that's stepping out of line according to them. And it's like, oh, we're coming off the plantation. He's like,
God, I hate that term.
he's like, yo, come on, Kanye, you be a good boy. Come on back to the Democrats. What are you doing? Speaking up, Kanye.
Yeah.
Lord, gonna pick a bale of cotton.
Yeah, I knew that there were going to be a lot of media coverage, but when I did watch the video itself, I was just like, "Oh my God, he is surrounded by news hounds and journalists," and they were really like, they had a hard on for the whole stop and frisk thing. They wanted to ask that like at the end, and I mean, Trump was able to say a few things about it, but he was all like, I'm well aware of what's going on. I have some property in Chicago, and and he sounds like he does want to do something about the ethics of what goes on in the police department in all over the country. Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. That's a good plan, and I think I think there was some points. I think where you're getting to is the reporters, and there was a lot of reporters in the room. This is a good point as well. Like I noticed that too. Like the Oval Office isn't super big. I mean, it's pretty big, and they had like 20 or 30 people in there with cameras going nuts. And then and then on top of that, it was also the questioning. Like I think you mentioned they were focused on stop and frisk. I'm not sure what other topics they tried to get at with, but I remember one quote from Kanye that was really good because he was like, the reporters were coming at him with questions, and he's like, look, I'm not good for. I'm paraphrasing, but basically he's like, look, I'm not good for sound bites. He's like, says something about, I don't do sound bites. I'm a fine wine. You're gonna have to like taste me as like a separate thing. I was like, oh my God, I love this guy.
Yeah, the one thing that kind of caught my attention about it, besides him, he was talking about economics. He was showing President Trump and something that Apple was making, like they called it the iPlane 1, and he was like, "Yeah, you should be flying in this thing." And someone in the room was all like, "So you want to get rid of Air Force One, the Boeing 747 that almost every president has flown in since that plane was made?"
Yeah, I think that might have been where Kanye led to that next comment where he's like, Kanye said, "This is our president. He's got to be the best. He's got to look fly. He's got to like have the best of everything." So he's like constantly trying to pimp out Trump.
Yeah, that was pretty interesting. Just hearing him.
Hilarious. Yeah, that was hilarious. And he's like, it just reminds me of the other stuff from the meeting where he's like showing him his phone. He's like, "Look, Trump, this is awesome." And they're just kind of like bros. It's like, oh, it's like meeting a long lost friend. Like they hadn't met. I know they've met before, probably multiple times, but it's like, yeah, they've been talking and they've been getting along, and then they finally have this meeting. It goes really well. And I thought it was fun. It was fun to watch. Most importantly, it's fun to watch the liberal tears from it.
Oh yeah, I got a cup right here.
Yeah, you're sipping them down. I ordered a liberal tirachino from Starbucks this morning.
How much do those go for these days? It's like $75.
It cost me 45 Trump coins. I bought them from Bearing. I bought them from Bearing's channel. He's got Trump coins.
Yeah, I heard. Wow. Ashton's been talking about Trump coin. The blonde girl.
Yeah.
I heard about the Trump coin from her.
That's funny.
Will Trump campaign for Kanye in 2024?
I mean, isn't he already?
Will Trump campaign for Kanye?
Oh, did I hear that wrong? Okay. I got you. Yeah, I would say, I mean, especially assuming Trump continues and he gets the next re-election, like Kanye is helping him. He should return the favor.
This is why people voted for Trump. They wanted someone who wasn't tied to party politics. They really did.
Yeah. And also I think it's a good change with, like, I mean, I know that Obama met with the celebrities a lot too, and you know, the Democrats and celebrities are always in bed with each other, but I think the difference is it's like Trump is a more real down to earth dude in his demeanor. I mean, obviously he's still rich and everything. He's like top 1%, but with Obama, he's just kind of like, Obama's like this overeducated, snooty, like, I'm better than you. I studied the Constitution. I went to Harvard. Like, you know, he's just like a kind of like douchebag. And with Trump, it's like, yeah, Trump will meet with people. He's cool. Like, he's down. He helps people out and hears them. He's like a real friend. He's like a, you know, the Godfather at the beginning of the Godfather. And they're like, he has to take favors on his daughter's wedding.
Totally. I remember.
That's what Trump's doing. Yeah. That's what Trump's doing. He's like taking it. He's like, all right, Kim Kardashian, I saw your porn video and it was excellent. So I'm going to go ahead.
Man, we going back.
Oh my God.
I'm going to go ahead and get that chick out of jail.
All right. Set aside the next 35 minutes. We have to talk about this porn tape.
and then he's like, oh, Kanye, you know what? I heard that song Gold Digger. That was my jam. We still play that at the Trump Tower.
Man.
So I'm going to go and hook you up with an Oval Office visit.
Does Trump sleep at the White House now? Or like when he first started, I think he was flying back to Trump Tower because he liked to sleep in his own bed, which is kind of crazy. But I guess it's not that crazy because they're
Tower in Chicago, right?
Well, the White House and New York are not super far apart. I think it's like an hour flight or something like that.
Yeah, he probably does that whenever he wants, or I'm sure he has a place in DC as well. I mean, I don't even think the regular president they don't really live at the White House. I'm sure there's a bedroom.
Oh, they do. Are you kidding? Yeah, like why wouldn't you want to live in this total historic? Like you're sleeping in the same room that Lincoln slept in.
Yeah,
like,
but dude,
want to stay there.
There's a residence though.
Well, there's a side residence that's for the vice president, but I believe the president lives upstairs. I'm
not sure. Yeah, I think it depends on the president too. So it's like there's different versions. I know what I think of right now when you say it. I'm honestly, I'm going to be honest. I was thinking of that show. Do you remember West Wing? Remember the show West Wing?
I never watched one episode of West Wing.
It's actually really funny to bring up because it was like a show about the White House. Obviously, it's about the president and his staff. And the funny part about it is it was set it came out during the Bush era. And then in their West Wing, they had a liberal president. So it was kind of like a liberal like fantasy. They're like,
Hollywood.
It was like a liberal fantasy because they're like, oh, Bush is in office. Let's go ahead and make a fake president that's liberal that we could watch on TV. But anyway, I watched that show. It's actually good.
Wasn't it Martin Sheen or Charlie?
Yeah.
Martin Sheen, yeah.
Yeah,
I remember.
Sheen. And then I just remember he used to go to the residence, which is like separate from the White House.
Oh, okay.
But I mean, that's not a true story or anything.
Maybe you're right. Maybe the liberal fantasy is correct. Or maybe they got you.
Or maybe Trump's sleeping in the Lincoln bedroom, you know? Who knows? Yeah. But what's up? Go ahead.
Speaking of Lincoln, we had a museum just about 2 or 3 towns over. They were actually showcasing the funeral train car.
Really?
That Lincoln was in, yeah.
Wow.
That's cool. That's historic.
It was, yeah, and it was, like 2 towns over. It was over in it was either in Lake Villa or Antioch.
Mm-hmm.
That's a couple towns over from me, and they had the car there for a couple of days for anyone who wanted to flock to the historical sighting.
Yeah, but Lincoln, the first Republican, original conservative, slavery.
Yeah, because everyone had Democratic, Republican terms, so now we have a first Republican president strictly.
Yeah. A lot of people say Trump's the new Lincoln, but I love Adam's laughs because it's like I could tell you're like cringing. You're cringing at my like hardcore conservative like just bullshit.
I love it because it so triggers. It goes against the whole Democratic narrative that they're like you would think they're the ones that freed the slaves. They just when you say that they just hate it. They're like,
dude, I know
history is against us. If we could just change these history books,
I know
that's why they great.
That's what they did with First Man. They're like rewriting history. They took the American flag out of the space landing, the moon landing.
The only one I allow to rewrite history for me, the only filmmaker I allow to rewrite history is Quentin Tarantino, because that scene where Hitler gets blown up is awesome.
Yeah, that was a good movie. That's a good movie. He does it with he does a very tasteful explosion scene.
Oh yeah, then you had I think it was 2009 and Glorious Bastard.
Yeah, he gave us the ending.
They unloaded
the ending to Hitler we all wanted.
Yeah, exactly.
They shot in Glorious Bastards, they shot Hitler and pretty much unloaded the entire gun into his face.
Oh, I know.
It was good. It was good. It was a good liberal fantasy. Good liberal Hollywood fantasy. Because they love hating on the Nazis, right? But
they do.
How do you get your Academy Awards if it weren't for that's like you got to have Hitler in your movie. Either Hitler or you got to have a famous person playing a mentally challenged person.
Yeah, never go full retard though. No, never go full retard. Not like how Ocasio-Cortez on her politics.
Why'd you bring the picture back?
Oh my god!
I was just trying to mix it up, and then
are you trying to trigger me here?
She told me to do it. I didn't. She told me with her eyes.
Didn't Crowder say something about her eyes? Like they were all bug-eyed or something like that?
Yeah, they're total bug-eyed. That's why I was saying. Like you're talking about how
only one.
All it takes is one.
It's like evil eye. It's like dude, I gotta get this one eye open a little bit more just to keep an eye on you.
Look at her dead in the eyes. Look into her good eye. All right. Look into her good eye. And then I could just see them like going 2 different ways. You know what I mean? Like just like looking and splitting apart. But let's not focus on her.
Yeah.
Bring back Kanye.
Yeah. Bring back our favorite.
Actually, let me bring back our last topic because we are wrapping things up. It's getting close to Halloween. Getting close to an hour, I think. Thanks everybody for tuning in, by the way. Great show. Awesome so far. We're just going to have one more little beat here. Thanks for the 100 people that are sticking around. We're going to talk about Halloween for a minute.
Halloween.
Halloween's coming up in the holiday at the end of the month. And then also this new movie is coming out on Thursday and Friday this week. I'm planning on seeing it. Let me just go ahead and jump in. Chat, tell us if you want to see this new Halloween movie, and I'll check in with you guys in a second. What about my co-hosts here? What do you guys think? Halloween, yay or nay?
I don't know. I've not seen a preview for it or anything. Does it? I mean, have you seen a preview? Is it any good?
Adam, go first. You're asking about the previews?
Yeah.
I saw a few. Yeah, I saw a few. It looks good to me. But I'm actually I like a lot of Halloween movies. I've been a fan of it I'll admit some of them kind of got shitty in the between there, but it seems like this one could be bringing it back, like kind of
I mean, Michael Myers, he's like got to be in a wheelchair, got a walker or something now. Like,
they're really old now.
How are they gonna do that? Like the whole fear factor kind of goes out of it if Michael Myers has a walker. Boy, look at
Sorry, I'm getting this picture.
Curtis. Holy shit, Jamie Lee Curtis is a grandma in this.
Yeah, that's why you said old. I'm like, yeah, Jamie Lee Curtis is in it. She's really old. I guess for the killer, like, you know, Mike Myers is just kind of like the superhero. Oh, not superhero, but he has like unlimited strength or whatever. Right. So maybe it doesn't matter. Kid.
Maybe he's like that BTK guy. Like he has a totally normal life, and he just Halloween rolls around. He's like, yeah, I got to go do some serial killing.
Yeah, it's time to start chopping them up. Now let's jump over to Marcus. Had you seen anything about this movie? Are you interested?
I've seen a couple of headlines, couple of titles come up for it, and I'm like, okay, it's another Halloween movie.
That sounds so unexcited. That's fine. I'm not super stoked for it either. I hear you.
No offense, Brooks, but yeah,
no, you're good. You're good.
A lot of these killers that they come out with in these scary movies, I mean, they've been coming out with these killers since like the 70s, since the 80s. So, I mean, sure, every movie, every beginning and ending is going to be different, but the way they begin these killings, I mean, they have a story and an end story, and they're all pretty much either similar or the same.
Yeah, they're super repetitive, and they come out every year. And then I think the thing for me, I wanted to just kind of go down a different side of this, because what I noticed a lot recently, especially this year, is these like reboots where they're like bringing the movie back, and it's like a sequel, but they name it the same name. So it's like, this is Halloween.
Other franchises have done the same thing. I mean, Fast and Furious was guilty of that too.
Yeah, Fast and Furious was an earlier one that did it a few years back. And then this year, I just saw The Predator, which came out like a month ago. And that was like a redo of The Predator. I think they kind of changed it because it was just like Predator, and then it was The Predator. But I mean, come on. It's like they're basically doing that with a lot of stuff. And yeah, it's the other one was like some games. It was like God of War had a new one this year, and it was just called God of War. And a lot of video games do that too, where they'll have like another sequel, and then now you have to put the year on it. You're like, okay, it's God of War 2018, and we're talking about Halloween 2018. And I don't know what that is. I think it's just lack of originality. Maybe they're just trying to cash in on the name more or something.
Yeah, it costs so much money to make a movie these days that they really want to only engage in properties that have some kind of fan base that they can potentially rely on.
Yeah, you gotta have something. Like, if it's not a sequel, it's like, okay, we're gonna come from this comic book, or this is based off of Neil Armstrong's story. Like, everyone knows Neil Armstrong's story, historical, or a Hitler movie, or whatever it is. So they got to have like
good? Is that movie good? The First
Man? Yeah, actually, I did a review of it. I was kind of mixed. I think it is a good movie. It just wasn't for me as much. Like, it was very serious and like intense, slow and long. So for me, I'm just kind of like, I wish it had a little more sense of humor to it or something, like a little more fun. But yeah, I wouldn't say it's a bad movie. I think a lot of people would like that too. It's like if you like Oscar movies or like Oscar baity movies, then you'd kind of be like, oh, that's a good one. Maybe it's kind of like reminded me of Interstellar at one point, but that's a whole other thing. But it just kind of reminded me of that because it was long and like had the space stuff.
Because it was long and boring. You're like, hey, I fell asleep. This movie reminds me of Interstellar.
Dude, I think I did fall asleep on Interstellar.
Did you see Venom? I was thinking of checking that out.
Oh, dude, Venom is excellent. Reviews.
Oh, okay.
That was awesome. Yeah. Venom, that's like a whole other thing. Like,
the liberal media savaged it because I think it's got like 9% on Rotten Tomatoes. But
dude,
I mean,
it's
my favorite movie is Rubber, and everyone hates that movie. So.
Yeah. It got killed by the critics early, but then all the fans seem to like it a lot. And it's just like people like it because it's fun. It's like, it's the opposite of what I just talked about. Like, First Man was the opposite. This one is Venom is just like a blockbuster. There's some good laughs in there. It's like about 2 hours or less. I think it's less than 2 hours. And yeah, no, it just had cool action. Like it wasn't Oscar worthy at all. It was like more comic book schlock almost. But I like it better because it's fun and I like that.
Yeah, me too. I like comedies, man. That's my thing. That's my
and Tom Hardy was good in it. Like
he's always good.
I like Tom Hardy much more than Ryan Gosling, and I do like Ryan Gosling too. And he was in The First Man. If I didn't mention that, but yeah, Ryan Gosling is good. But like this one for him, it was just like too serious. I like his other stuff. Like he's been in other funny stuff too. He can actually be cool.
I did see that movie Upgrade, and that movie Upgrade is phenomenal. That movie is so good.
Yeah, I saw Upgrade too. That was cool. It actually, some of this actually Venom. Now that you mention it, I didn't actually get to this in any videos yet, but a lot of Venom reminded me of Upgrade.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. That's why I was like, well, if it's anything like Upgrade, I'll probably dig it. But
yeah, dude, it's weird. It's like this weird kind of thing where this happens traditionally in Hollywood. There will be like two movies that are very similar in a year.
In development at the same time. They're both racing to get their movie out before the other one.
And this one is actually much different than some of the other ones. Like some of the other ones are like almost exactly the same.
Totally.
But anyway, this one, okay, so with Upgrade and Venom, they both have this situation where the main character, and actually, first of all, we could already say that guy, I used to think that guy was Tom Hardy. Isn't that the actor that
the guy who in Upgrade? I know. He looks like he's like the other
discount Tom Hardy.
Every celebrity has a discount version.
Like
now.
A doppelganger.
It's like Amy Adams and the other one, I can't even remember.
Yeah.
I think it's Isla Fisher.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, there's those ones that there's actually the girl from Interstellar has like a total clone.
Yeah.
It's like Bryce Dallas Howard and that's the other one. That's her clone. I forget the Interstellar girl's name is.
Natalie Portman and the other one. What's her name?
So I know. I don't know the name, but I know what you mean. But back to this one. Okay, so first of all, it is funny they picked two actors that look like each other in the two similar movies, right?
Yeah.
And then Upgrade and Venom, they both involve like this other thing coming into the person's head and talking to them, and it talks to them, and it also gives them powers. Now, there's two situations. Like one of them is a robot ship that's like an AI for Upgrade. And then for Venom, it's like an alien symbiote, liquid thing.
But it's the same thing.
But it is very similar. It's super similar. And like a lot of it just tripped me out. I was like, did anyone else notice that? And someone else thought of the name I was trying to think of. Jessica Chastain. That's the girl. Redhead. Yeah. Jessica Chastain and Bryce Dallas Howard are like the same person.
Oh, yeah, totally.
But anyway, yeah, those movies are cool. Venom's cool. Any other movies before we sign off here? Anyone else think of any movies? Let me actually jump to Marcus. Have you seen any movies lately?
I don't routinely go to movie theater or watch TV, but if there's something that really gets my attention, I'll watch it. I would say like the newest movie I would say that I saw recently would be the 2017 Dunkirk movie.
That's good. That's a good movie.
Yeah, I'm a like World War II enthusiast. So I like to watch stuff within that genre, and I'm very keened into World War II history. I mean, you can give me a year between 1936 and 1945. I guess I could tell you exactly what happened in that year. Other than that, man.
Yeah, I saw Dunkirk too, and Dunkirk was definitely what you're saying, like very like historically accurate, like every detail, like the costumes and the war and the guns and the battle, like everything looked really awesome in that movie. And it actually is similar. Like now that you say it, like I would compare it to First Man because they're both like have that historical thing to it, but Dunkirk is better because it has the action. It's like more exciting.
It didn't submit to SJW demands either.
Yeah, it had a all white cast as as it should, as we all should. All movies should have white cast. Wait, did I say that out loud? I just got demonetized. I just got demonetized. Okay, my channel's down. My channel's down, guys. Okay,
historically,
I'm working at Taco Bell. I have a general manager at Taco Bell. Actually, they took that job from me. Okay, I'm living under a bridge in a box.
Is this like real time narration?
Wait, they took my box. No, they took my box. Okay, I'm sitting on a sidewalk.
Like that Black Mirror episode. You're like,
like SpongeBob. You with your tentacle? Yeah.
Okay, they want to change the pick before we. Yeah, we could end with NPCs.
You gotta put the don't tread on ye thing up. I tweeted.
Kanye, yeah.
What's up?
I linked you on a tweet.
Oh, you got a picture on a tweet? Hold on.
But yeah, from what I was saying, like, I take very keen to World War II movies. So like Dunkirk was like the newest one that I saw. But other than that, I mean, I've seen like really big ones, like Enemy at the Gates. That's the Soviet German one. And then Saving Private Ryan. That's America.
Yeah, another classic one for sure. For sure. Yeah. And then I love this picture. I got the picture up. You guys can see it.
Don't trend on me yet.
Don't tread on you.
Don't tread on me. Real Daily Wire. I love Trump. I love Kanye. I love the chat most of all. Screw these guys in the video with me. You guys suck. I love this chat. You guys are great. Thanks for watching. We're going to sign off here in a second. I'm going to read a few more things though. Frank says Dunkirk was junk. Ouch. Harsh. Harsh, Frank.
But hey, we live in America.
So much better.
Yeah, we live in America. Freedom of speech. I think actually,
you're entitled to your opinion.
I can actually see where he's coming from though, because the thing I didn't like about Dunkirk was that it didn't have enough Americans. But that's just me. That's just me.
Well, Dunkirk was more of a. Well, Dunkirk involved the French and English. And
I know. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm just kidding, dude.
Carf Pezion says, check out my cringe video. It's my failed attempt at comedy.
Nice.
So if you want to check out a comedy video, Carf Pezion is a little bit difficult channel to read.
I know. I was trying to say that earlier too.
What's up? Call me Oz. I see him on my channel all the time. Saving Private Ryan sucked. What?
What?
That's it.
We got some haters in the audience. I still love you though. I love your hate.
I'm actually friends with one of the producers on Band of Brothers. So
that's awesome.
Oh my god, that was amazing.
So I'm the friend of a friend of a producer.
Yeah,
on a show.
He was Tom Hanks's personal assistant for forever, like straight out of college. Yeah,
that's awesome. You know, small world. Morgan says, "Don't tread on ye." Yeah, I swear, ye. Okay, you know what? Let's go ahead and end with this. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the ye states of America.
Let's go ahead. Let's get us on camera for one last time.
Oh,
everybody, put your hand over your heart and repeat after me. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the
United States. We'll say it together. We'll say it together. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
To the republic
for which it stands, one nation, under God, Kim Kardashian, indivisible, with liberty and
Kim Kardashian didn't do a porno.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. You're the best. Thank you guys for co-hosting and joining in on the show. Chat's awesome. We'll see you next week. We'll come back next Sunday and maybe even do some movie streams later.
All right. Take care, everyone.